The Sacred Anatomy of Ambivalence. Dear Tinder, caught in the his and her storm since before I was born, I stepped in and out of the world with the moral fall and austere withdrawal of an ambivalent whore, dressed up like a mirage in a desert storm. A discarded fetal ball, unraveling umbilical cord, hurled again and again against his takedown wall. Torn between my mother's crown and thorn, her blessing and scorn, on a seesaw of contempt and awe. A woman at war, linked to generations of fight and fawn. Hung from my family tree in tender blasphemy, as an ambivalent angel vacillating interminably between. Ascetically turned in against myself, fresh as a burn and a voluptuous melt, my depth curtailed in his left hook, my good sense knocked out by his superficial look. Brave above my 5'6" tall, pressed close against his burly brawn, and not wanting to be here at all. Wanting it all, just to forestall wanting nothing at all. And still, enthralled by miracle fish served up in an invisible dish. Spinning in a mirroring disco ball, shimmering, drunken in thrall, and clinging to my incurable loneliness, his destiny carved into my palm with "Go fish." Bereft as his faithless messieurs and the saintly blessing of my own consciousness, no longer soothed by his stuck-out tongue just to cool his barbarous self down. Thrilled to death and stale-bred stiff impoverishment, silted like a riverbed of unsaid and overflowing, begging for my humanity with the same loud mouth of his disguised profanity. Loving too much and its complete withdrawal, flamboyant and blood and flesh raw. On the fence in inference, devouringly emphatic and elegantly nuanced, shrapnel silenced and third eye straight, let's not get caught like bait in that same awkward debate. The warm weight of his blindfolding palm and my uncompromising glance enhanced under a cold magnifying glass, tamed in a trance of his sizzling remarks and ablaze in my hell-raising sparks. Kicking up disturbing dust and subdued by his impotent air and lust, all fluffed up and crushed by his elephant imprint of intangible bull dust. Crossing my heart and arms firmly crossed against loss, hoping not to die and not knowing how to stay alive with each daring impulse to act and not to surmise. The divided water of being both woman and daughter, on all fours or dragged to his lair by my hair, naughty and demurely haughty, undeservingly dismissed and commandingly pubescent. On the line, ready to die for the will of thine, as a humbled grape on a vine for a sacred sip of blood in a glass of wine, and a hopeful finger in his man-made pie, swollen with a complicated white lie as long as my intestine. Intimately anesthetized with a half-crumb smile, needle stuck in my tongue like a very good wife for a while, and fearsome fangs and conquered arms, not hung limp in abide by his side. Firm as an icy bitch above his surface kitch, and spilled across the floor in warm fluent thaw with far less impediment. White dressed-up worthiness twice next to his rootlessness, submissive and assertively intransigent, signed up for love and refusing the high price of it. Curled up in Buddha's vacant lap, a one-hand Zen clap, an almighty karmic wake-up slap, as hard and flat as his desert outback. Wanting to curl up and die here where I lie, and wanting to glide through life through the sky with unshut eyes, willing as water through everything daunting, unthwarted. A champion jaw of unwritten law, rebellious eloquence and sealed lip spitless silence. Gut howls, haunted as the wind, and ultrasonic moans, hidden tomes in my bent-down bark, to feel the unpleasant and angelic in every gnarl or heralded harp. Ideals and ordeals of relationships, sticky spider-fly entanglements, a convict belonging to trauma bonding, panting passion and monasterial abstinence. Filled and emptied like the I-Ching, settled and skin-ripping itching. Hurled like a lemming off a shelf into his bottomless gulf, just to be closer to the dust of myself. Begging the mirror for truer sight to separate worms in peach nipple bites, and raise flags for rights from my rock-bottom nights, watching my mouth and letting Babel carelessly fall out. Unless I submit my buckshot rage, Smudge said what he calls crazy many, many times daily, to some ineffable power of the word contained in my mouth as the warm entrance to my house, not just as a curse to be immediately cast or spat out. Held in that liminal point joining battling worlds, heaven and earth, his uncircumcised foil, her burning bush, extracted from single oblivion's indomitable beatitude and shush. So terrifyingly alive in unseparated breath, gasping at death, her face contorted, body parts distorted into primal altars, undivided waters from her tongue-dripping love, sinuously praising each impression in witnessed confession, like a mother untorn, ecstatically licking her warm newborn.